Cassava is a calorie-rich vegetable that contains plenty of carbohydrate and key vitamins and minerals. Cassava is a good source of vitamin C, thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin. The leaves, which are also edible when cooked or dried in the sun, can contain up to 25% protein.
Cassava has micronutrients. These leaves, they've got, when used as vegetables, they have a high content of protein. It is a crop that has highest calories in a per unit area. Compared to rice, it has 40% more. Compared to maize, it has 25% more. So it has got a lot of calories, and because it can grow under environments where the crops fail, it is one of the crops that can ensure we have food security among our rural communities. And when the cassava is fermented, it can be made into beer. Now with the current COVID, we have varieties like KALRO that produce very high content of ethanol that can be used to make sanitizers, and also with the demand for biofuel, through fermentation, we can produce ethanol. And it can also be used in animal feeds. Kenya has a vibrant dairy industry that is reliant on maize and wheat byproducts. Those byproducts can be replaced with cassava and save this country a lot of foreign exchange.
Is cassava toxic? Humans should not eat cassava raw because it contains naturally occurring forms of cyanide, which are toxic to ingest. Soaking and cooking cassava makes these compounds harmless. Eating raw or incorrectly prepared cassava can lead to severe side effects. Even in places where cassava is a well-known part of the diet, reports have identified several hazards of eating it and taking in too much active cyanide, including paralyzed legs in children, low levels of iodine, increased risk of goiter, tropical ataxic neuropathy or TAN, a condition that is more common in older people and causes a loss of feeling in the hands, poor vision, weakness, walking problems, and the sensation of something being on the feet, intoxication, and eventual death.
Not all cassava eaten raw will be harmful. The amount of the potential to produce cyanide, cassava doesn't have cyanide, but it has potential to produce cyanide, is determined by several factors. Is determined by the management practices, is determined by the kind of variety you have. But the good thing is, if you process cassava, you can remove all the potential to produce hydrogen cyanide, which is poisonous. But what we do when we are doing variety development, we normally determine the content, compare it with the variety kibandameno, because it's a variety you can eat raw, and all varieties that have cyanide content above kibandameno, there are two recommendations we make. There are certain levels we don't even select, but there are slightly higher levels where we recommend that variety to be processed before it is used, or used for animal feeds if the levels are low.
KALRO has released 2 new cassava varieties with a potential of 21 tons per acre, double what the current varieties produce.
In this region, or even in Kenya, in this region, they grow kibandameno variety, which has got high dry matter content, but it is affected by all cassava diseases. KALRO released 6 varieties in 2008. We promoted, but among them, Tajirika, the one you are seeing here, is one of the widely accepted variety because it matures between 8 to 12 months. It has got very high yield. It is resistant to most of the diseases. We also have KALRO, whose potential we've not tapped. KALRO is very good for ethanol production. If you have a distillate of, let's say, 100 mils, and you ferment it, 80% of that will be pure ethanol. We also have a karibuni. It is a variety that also is tolerant to pests and diseases and can also be grown intercropped. For optimal yield, you need to have good agronomic practices. You must have the right variety. Then once you have the right variety, you must plant it at the right time. For the coastal region, Lamu County, we recommend at the onset of rains, you get cuttings from disease-free plants, about 1 foot. You plant them at 1 meter by 1 meter spacing. You ensure that you have weeded within the first month, then repeat the second weeding. And where you do inspection, if the leaves are not lush green, then you know there is need for fertilizer application. But the fertilizer we apply, the natural inherent soil fertility can support up to 10 tons without fertilizer. After that, you need to apply fertilizer, and then you harvest when the crop is mature.
Cassava is harvested, especially at the coast, almost at the same time. And therefore, there's a flood in the market. And then in the following season, there's hardly any product in the market. And that's where the value addition comes in. And value addition will be very difficult for farmers if you are working as individuals. It is important for you to form organized groups because there are several facilities that are available even from Juakali, which can assist you to add value to cassava. And I think, I don't know how many of you have traveled in to Busia, because Busia is the lead. And there's a very important cottage industry there, which can be replicated elsewhere, and it is not expensive. A group of 5, 10, 20 farmers can be able to process their materials so that they can last longer. You can be able to control the market, because the marketeers, when they come and they know you have a clerk and you cannot store for long, they dictate the price to you. But if you can process as flour, you can wait. So you tell them that price, we are not taking it. If you don't give me this money, I'll not take it. But when you have the materials are ready and they know you cannot store for long, they dictate the price for you. So it is important for farmers to come as groups so that, one, you can be able to control, or you can not dictate, you can be able to access good markets.
Other varieties include Nzalauka, Karibuni, Shibe, Siri, and Karembo. Cassava likes light, sandy loams with medium soil fertility with good drainage, saline, strongly alkaline and stony soils, and soils with stagnant water are unsuitable for the cultivation of cassava. Stony soils inhibit the formation of the root tuber. Where soil fertility is concerned, cassava is easily satisfied, even on very poor and acidic soils, which are very unsuitable for the cultivation of other plants. The cassava will provide a relative good crop. For this reason, the cassava is frequently grown on edge locations which can otherwise not be used arably. Cassava finds the most favorable growing conditions in humid, warm climates at temperatures of between 25 and 29 degrees Celsius and precipitations of between 1,000 and 1,500 millimeters, which ideally should be evenly distributed.